Hello again, friends. I hadn't planned on such a long pause between my videos. As usual, though, my health got in the way, so that's for another video. But right now, I want to continue discussing the importance of learning an instrument and playing music regularly. As always, singing is most definitely included in this topic. So in my last video, you might remember I used the phrase, music lights up the brain. And you've probably heard other people saying very similar words, right? So what does that actually mean, though? Let's step into the science world for a little bit and just talk about cognitive musicology. So simply put, the science of cognitive musicology is the study of how our brains process music. A lot of information is used by our brains to listen and or to play music. And scientists in this field examine these processes. So looking at the brain while it's engaged in any activity alone, like playing an instrument, is challenging. So researchers have a few tools up their sleeves, though. So the first that most people know about, the first tool, is magnetic resonance imaging. In this case specifically, functional MRI. And McGill has a really cool video about using fMRI on musicians, and I will link to that in the description. Considering how loud an MRI is, to be honest, I can't imagine trying to play an instrument in one of those, but again, that's just me. So another tool, positron emission tomography, or PET, is another technique, and this one uses actually a radioactive tracer, and then the person is stuck into a CT scanner. Now, these are indirect tools, and they look for blood flow in specific regions of the brain, which theoretically indicates that those regions are being used for information processing, like playing an instrument, right? So we have other tools, though, tools that will measure electrical activity in regions of the brain. So electroencephalography, EEG, does this by wearing a special cap that the subject would have on their heads. And magnetoencephalography, or MEG, is very similar, but this is looking at those magnetic fields that are created by the electrical activity in the brain using, and you're going to love this, superconducting quantum interference device sensors, or SQUID sensors, positioned in a helmet similar around the subject's head, right? So these are tools that look at neuronal activity in specific brain regions while doing activities like what we're talking about here, playing music. So, okay, we've talked about all the fun, crazy lab toys out there, so you probably want me to get to the point. And here it is. When we do math, or we're reading a book or something, we see specific parts of the brain become active. And when we simply just listen to music, more areas start showing activity than just with the reading or math. But when we're actually playing music on an instrument, that all these tests literally light up. We literally see activity all over the brain, particularly in the visual, auditory, and motor cortices. After all, when we're playing music, our brains are simultaneously processing so many different types of information. This information also is often very intricate. It's not always completely related, but it needs to be processed extremely fast. So think of a violinist, or, somebody like Joshua Bell, or a guitar player like Slash, doing these killer solos, written, improvised, it doesn't matter. It's fast. So let's go just a tiny bit deeper into this rabbit hole. When we play an instrument, we're using fine motor skills, which is one of the big differences between simply listening to music and actually playing it, or if you're a wind instrument. Those fine motor skills are controlled by both hemispheres of the brain. So in the left hemisphere, we activate the linguistic and mathematical parts of the brain, whereas creativity and novel thinking is in the realm of the right hemisphere. This is my right, this is my left. I'm not sure how it's showing up on your end. When we use both sides like this, though, and allow messages to get across the brain in diverse pathways, our corpus callosum, which is the bridge between the two hemispheres, it actually increases in volume. And this may be why musicians are able to solve problems more effectively and more creatively than non-musicians, especially as musicians. But executive functioning as well is a category of interlinked tasks that includes planning, strategizing, and attention to detail, and it requires simultaneous analysis of both cognitive and emotional aspects, and musicians often have higher levels of this executive functioning because we need it. And let's not forget about memory. Musicians show enhanced memory functions as creating, storing, and retrieving memories more quickly and efficiently. So, after all this, the neurobiology benefits are far more complicated and far more nuanced than the pop science dive that I just did in this video. But hopefully this surface level explanation is enough to convince you that there are actual studies highlighting the rewards of playing music. So, no more excuses, folks. Get that old guitar out of the closet and start jamming. Or go out and join your local choir, because this all applies to singing as well. If you don't play anything, call a music teacher and learn an instrument like what I play, the ukulele. So, thank you so much all for watching today. Hopefully I've convinced you that it is important to exercise your brain, to light up that brain by playing music. Please like and subscribe to keep up to date what I'm up to, and always stay safe and stay funky, my friends.